Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Anna. So today we are going to be reading Am I the Asshole posts, from Reddit, so stick around on my channel. We are trying something new. We're trying to do some Reddit videos. Let me know in the comment section if you guys still would like for me to do some story times, because I do that on my channel. So yeah, let's go ahead and jump into this video. So this Reddit post was made 16 hours ago, so probably like yesterday afternoon or something. Okay, so it says, am I the asshole for not wanting to contact or start a relationship with my half-sister? This is very complicated for me to write about, but I wanted some thoughts from someone I'm not related to. I have an older sister I grew up with my whole life, okay? We have different fathers. Our biological fathers were never in our lives growing up, but one of my mom's serious boyfriends, who I consider like my stepfather, was more of a father to us. Oh my God, I had to read that twice. He taught us how to swim, play baseball, softball, ride our bikes, picked us up from school when my mom had to work late, and helped us build our science projects. Looks like a good dad. I never knew much about my father, but only when I was in middle school, my mother was having a hard time getting him to pay child support. Long story short, my father refused to work for a while so he wouldn't have to pay child support. Yes, I know, pretty effed up. I'm pretty savvy with the internet, and so one day when I was in high school, I looked myself up and I found two people with the same last name as me, born the same year, but our birthdays are the same day or just 1 month apart. Again, it's not a very common name. When I asked I don't think you ever mentioned that. When I asked my mom about it, she told me about how my dad was seeing some other lady. Okay, are we talking about your biological dad or your stepdad? I'm thinking your biological dad. She didn't even know about it until she was 7 months pregnant with me, and she saw him kissing some other lady who was also pregnant. Hold on, wait a minute. So, was your mom with your dad, and she saw him kiss another woman and she was pregnant, or was this after they had broken up? I'm a little confused. Like, was there cheating in the play? I don't know. But I'm guessing this is like your sister? Like when y'all were like babies and not born yet type of deal. So my twin half siblings are a month younger than me. I was curious one time, so I looked them up on Facebook, and my mom confirmed it was biological donor in those pictures. I left it at that, never made any contact. Okay, so you mean when you say you're half twin sibling, so you mean like, okay, so this is what I'm thinking. Correct me if I'm wrong. So let's just say you get with this man and you are pregnant with him. And then he also, on the side, behind closed doors, get with another woman and get her pregnant. So y'all kind of like, what's the word? Y'all kind of like in the same, far along pregnancy. Like y'all kind of like in the same timeline of pregnancy. I'm not meaning like, oh, you're 6 months pregnant and she just found out she's pregnant. Like, I mean like, she's in the 3rd trimester, so let's just say she's 7 months pregnant, and the other girl is 8 months pregnant. So it's kind of like, you know what I mean? Like, it's really, really close. Okay, so that way whenever y'all are born like very, very close around the same day. But y'all are not twins though, because y'all both did not come out at the same womb, from the same mother, the same partner or whatever, but different moms. But y'all kind of came out almost on the same day. So I'm guessing that's where the twin half sibling come into play. Okay, I'm kind of understanding this a little bit. But anyway, back to the post. About 3 years ago, I have gotten a random Facebook message request. I clicked on it, but it didn't show I saw the message to the sender. It was one of those twins. It was one of the twins. She had just recently found out about me and wanted to get to know me, and that she realizes this might be a shock to find out about having a sister. I found out about them 10 years ago. I have found out about them years ago, so I didn't find it shocking, but I was upset that mom withheld information from me. Now that's kind of messed up, I'm not gonna lie. So I kind of went through this situation before. If you want story time on that, there's a story time for that. But there was this guy, I remember I was in 4th grade. There was this guy. Of course, we had like a little clique or whatever, or a little friend group. But there was this one guy in the friend group. Me and him was like best friends, okay? Like, we were like best friends. He was kind of like the center of the friend group type of deal. And, well, fast forward during the summer, I found out that I was not going to be returning to that school. I know, during my elementary years, I moved around schools a lot, and I got another story time for that. But during that summer, I had no business doing it, no business whatsoever, but I made a Facebook account. See, that's when, internet started becoming a thing, and, everybody and their mama had Facebook, even people's dogs had Facebook. So I made a Facebook, and I found one of my friends from 4th grade in the group. And I sent him a friend request, and we started typing in and texting, and he goes on to say, hey, I think we're cousins. And I'm like, wait, what? So me, I know my mom is white, and obviously my dad is black, but I've always thought my mom's boyfriend, aka my brother's dad, was also my biological dad. But not long after I told my mom, hey, my friend from 4th grade sent me a message and was like, saying we're cousins and this and that. And that's when she had to sit down and talk and tell me, like, yeah, let me tell you what's going on. Let me tell you who your dad is and the background behind that. So that's when I found out that my brother I grew up all my life with was only my biological half brother. That's it. I don't have any full-blooded brothers. I don't have any full-blooded sisters. I don't have any sisters at all. All I have is brothers, and they're all half brothers. That's it. So I kind of would understand that if my mom had withheld that information, like if I go to my mom and tell her with this information and she never told me, like had to sit down and talk with me, I would be upset. I'm gonna be honest. I would be upset. I would be upset. I wasn't finding out I have a sister because I grew up with my sister. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so tired. I'm sorry. I wasn't finding out I have a sister because I grew up with my sister. My grandma said that I should start a relationship. What? My grandma said that I should start a relationship her. You mean you should start your grandma, meaning what you're trying to say is my grandma said that I should start a relationship with her. Okay. We're in different states, and I know her brother is also in a different state. My mom worry is that if I start talking to her, eventually she will want me to meet her twin, and then eventually my biological dad, who I don't want to meet for much of what I talked about above. So does that make me the asshole for not wanting to start a relationship with her? Or do I respond to her message and tell her I really don't want to start a relationship? Now, okay, I'm gonna be honest. So I rekindled. Well, I guess you could say rekindled, because growing up, my mom had her best friend, and she had these little boys. They were her sons. I thought they were my friends. I thought that was my mom's best friend and her kids, and that was my best friends. And, you know, they were always at my mom's house with us, and we were all playing and stuff. And sometimes, you know, my mom's best friend would watch me while my mom was at work, so I wouldn't have to go to daycare, because the daycare I went to was bad. That's another story time. But I was really, you know, good friends with this little boy, you know, and his little brother. I was really good friends. And then when my mom finally had that sit down talk with me and told me, hey, you remember those little boys that you used to play with growing up? Yeah, those were not your friends. Like, those were your brothers. Mine was busted. Now, I did rekindle with my older brother. We, you know, met and we talked and this and that. That's another story time for that. That was a wild story time. But, you know, everything was cool, whatever, you know. And I was in college for cosmetology, and this one girl that I was in school with, that was her ex. My older brother was her ex. And she low-key wanted to get back with him. And, well, I was on Tinder at the time. It was probably really, really awkward how I approached this, honestly. But I never had my other brother's, like, you know, way of contacting him or anything. But I was scrolling on Tinder, and I found my little brother. And I seen he had, like, his Snapchat and stuff like that, his Instagram, whatever. So I was like, you know, I got Snapchat. You know, I don't really use Instagram, but, you know, I have Snapchat. Let me go ahead and, like, type his name in Snapchat and be like, you know, hey, you know, I know this is kind of weird, but, you know, I'm your big sister. I was really want to reconnect, blah, blah, blah. I sent him a message, and he was like, wait, how'd you find my Snapchat, though? And I'm like, oh, like I said, I know it sounds weird, but, you know, I found it on Tinder, and I recognized you. I knew you was my brother, and I just, you know, all set aside from the BS, you know, how I found your Snapchat. I just, you know, want to reconnect with you, you know what I mean? Like your family. Block. He immediately just blocked me. So I was like, okay, is it because he don't want a sister, or is he mad because, you know, I found his Tinder or something and he thought that was kind of weird? Like, I don't know. And even to this day, I have not heard from my little brother, nothing. But hey, I mean, in this situation, if you do not want to rekindle or start a relationship with your sister, just let her know. Just let her know. Just tell her how you feel, not too much in detail, but, you know, just tell her you just rather not. Because if you don't, that person's probably going to spend, like, if not the rest of their life, but years wondering, like, okay, my sister knew about me. I know about her. We never established a relationship, and she never said why. Is it me? Did I do something wrong? You know what I mean? Just, in my opinion, I would let the person know the reason. But let's go down and read the comment section. So we have one person commenting. They said, honestly, I probably just replied politely, like, I'm not looking for a relationship right now, but wish you well. That way you set a boundary without drama. Yeah, I agree. And someone says, not the asshole. Honestly, you can still talk to your half-sister and not meet your father. I agree. It's your choice whether you meet him. That girl can't force you to do that. Just make it crystal clear you have no desire to meet him. And if they try it, all contact will be cut. That is a good point. Like, you know, she did mention that she didn't want to see her dad, didn't want to meet him, rekindle things, blah, blah, blah. I get that. So if you let them know of that and they try to, you know, get you a situation where y'all can be together, like in the same room and talk and communicate, cut all contact, because you're stepping boundaries. You know what I mean? But no, by the way, I don't think OP is an asshole. I really don't. Because, like, you know, she don't, you know, this is kind of new. You know what I mean? It's a weird feeling, and it's shocking, and it's kind of like a little bit of disappointment when you find out, like, oh, you have another sibling, or oh, like, da da da. Oh, this is not your dad, but your real dad is da da da. And you have X, Y, and Z more siblings. It's kind of, I remember feeling really weird. I remember that. Let's read one more comment and then we're going to go on to the next story. Someone commented and said, not the asshole in any way possible. You don't have to do anything you're not comfortable with, and you can always change your mind at a later date. I agree. That's why I feel like she should just say, I would like to connect in the future, but right now I don't think it's possible. And just leave it at that. And then time go on, you put more thought into it. We're talking maybe a year or two, whatever. And if you want to rekindle things, you can. You can start a relationship with her. I don't think there's nothing wrong with OP. I don't think she's doing anything wrong per se, in my personal opinion. But we're going to go ahead and go on to the next story. I guess the topic of today is going to be sisters. And I'm trying to give the best advice as possible because I don't have any sisters. I don't have any. So we're just going to roll with the punches. So this is the next story. Am I the asshole for not wanting to rehire my sister after she cost my practice $40,000? Child, I'm going to be so real with you, OP. I'm going to be 1 billion %. I'm going to lay it on the line for you right now. I don't think you're the asshole. Because, honestly, if this was just a regular employee and they had cost your practice $40,000 or even $10,000, I wouldn't even rehire them. So why should you even consider about rehiring this person just because they're your sister? I get it. It's family, it's blood, but still, it doesn't it doesn't dismiss the $40,000 that you cost her business. That's a lot of money. That $40,000, that can you. If I had $40,000 in cash right now, what you could do with that money, you can go buy a brand spanking new, maybe a 2024 Toyota Corolla and have it paid flat. It'll be paid flat, and you still might have $10,000, $15,000 left over. You know what I mean? That's a lot of money. $40,000 is a lot of money. Child, I don't know. But we're going to read into this post. We're going to read into what's going on. Okay. So, am I the asshole for not wanting to rehire my sister after she cost my practice $40,000? This is kind of long, so bear with me. Also, throwaway account. I am a medical professional and joined my dad's practice 20 years ago. Okay. That's cool. Currently, the practice has been open 51 years. Not really important, but kind of cool. My sister T joined the practice the same time I did and started doing all of our insurance and patient billing. She has MS and her symptoms like memory loss and anxiety have gotten worse over the last few years. My dad went part-time about 8 years ago, so I've been running the practice, meeting with the consultants, monitoring the P&L, keeping our costs down, etc. Okay, so pretty much your dad opened the business. And your dad started working part-time. And your sister joined the practice, the business. I don't know exactly what, patient. Oh, no, that's what you did. Okay, so pretty much your sister's joining too, and your dad's there, but he's part-time, and you just kind of pretty much taking over your dad's position, pretty much, since he stepped down. So, okay, I get it. In August of last year, I noticed we weren't having as much money coming in. Suspicious. I couldn't figure it out because I was seeing plenty of patients. Right, 2 + 2 was supposed to be 4, but in this situation, 2 + 2 = 1,000. What? I went searching through everything and found out that we weren't getting paid by Medicare. I told T, OP's sister, to figure out what was going on. She came back to me and said that we were kicked off the Medicare because we didn't respond to emails for some information. She swears up and down that she didn't get any emails, so we had to re-credential with Medicare. That took about 45 days. When we got info back, Medicare said that we weren't getting paid for May through November. That's a long time. I'm not gonna lie, from May to November, let me see, May, June, July, August, September, October, November. That's 7 months. 6 to 7 months. That's a long time. We had to write off balances for all the patients we saw then, We had to write off balances for all the patients we saw then to tune of $40,000. We appealed to Medicare and they sent us a statement of what had happened on their end. T ignored 3 emails with requests for updated information. See, that's like detrimental to the business. Like, that's the thing. Okay, so me, I am trying to start a business because, again, I would do a video on that. A little bit of my personal life, but not too personal. But you know what I mean? It's very important to answer emails, phone calls, letters in the mail. That's detrimental. It's very crucial because, especially working in this type of field when it's medical, anything that has to do with medical, if you get any emails, phone calls, or anything that needs to be updated, you must accept those phone calls and stay updated. Keep them updated because this very reason right here. It's very important. That's why you have to stay on top of everything when you own a business. And the fact that, she's doing everything that her dad was doing, why couldn't a sister step in? You know what I mean? Like, she was already doing billing and insurance. So she messed up her job, really and truly. Oh, child. Fast forward to today. Sorry it's so long. T was very sick with shingles, meningitis in July. She was hospitalized for 9 days. It was really serious. We thought she was going to die. She had to have 21 days of... Okay, hold on. I'm sorry. Oh, God. Hold on. I'm going to put it right here. I'm going to put it on the screen. That's what she had. By IV around the clock. She had issues walking, and one side of her face is permanently paralyzed, causing speech issues. I'm not familiar with that word and stuff like that, but like, that sounds like a stroke. Because like, that's what a stroke can do. Oh my God, that's bad though. I also didn't think that she would come back to work. She has long-term and short-term disability, and I really thought with this illness and her MS, oh, that's what it is, okay, she would stay at home. While she was gone, I uncovered a whole lot of info about her insurance and patient billing. If the insurance didn't pay, she would write off the balances instead of following up to get the info she needed to refile the claim. She never sent statements to the patients, just wrote off anything over 90 days so it looked like we were getting paid when we weren't. When she said she was coming back, I told my parents that I didn't want her back because she lied about everything and cost us a lot of money. They said she's family and she couldn't get a job anywhere else. So she gets to come back to work and I have to, oh my God. I am so sorry, guys. I don't know why whenever I read out loud, it makes me yawn. It makes me yawn. I'm gonna have to figure out like why it does that. They said she couldn't get a job anywhere else, so she gets to come back to work, and I have to oversee all the insurance billing to make sure there aren't any mistakes. Like I have the time for that with the 30 to 35 patients I see in a day. I have another staff member doing it now, but she doesn't want to continue because she knows T will make the front desk a toxic area. Also, my parents are hemming and hawing on selling me the practice because they know if I own it, I will fire her. I'm fed up and frustrated with the whole situation, and I just want to quit. But I got 20 years here, and I love my patients. Am I the asshole for not wanting to rehire my sister? Okay, now there's another section right here. It says, edit. Wow, guys, thanks for the responses. I had to step away to see patients, but let's see if I can clear up some things, okay? There's 4 bullet points. Number 1, my sister cannot own the practice. In my state, medical professionals cannot work for non-medical professionals. The big corporations get around this by hiring a medical professional in a similar field and put them on the board. Number 2, I can't start my own practice. Trust me, I would if I could. I'm a single parent. Opening up a food practice right now is horribly expensive, and I won't see profits from it for about 2 years. If I had a spouse, we have a salary to fall back on while I work part-time at another practice until mine takes off. I just can't risk it with my child. Understandable. Point 3. I think part of the problem is that my dad isn't ready to sell something that he's worked on for 50 years. I may be naive, but I think he's having a hard time letting go. The plan was always for me to buy the practice. When it was theoretical, he didn't have to face it. Now he does. That doesn't excuse his attitude right now, though. I agree. Point 4. We have a meeting in a few days to address these problems. I think if my parents don't listen, I'm just going to wash my hands of the whole thing. I agree. I won't abandon my patients, but neither will I continue to run the practice. My dad can continue back and run things. One of 2 things will happen. It will either get to run to the ground and I can buy it cheap, or he'll find an unsuspecting new grad who doesn't know how to read a P&L and sell it to them. At that point, I'll leave for another office and take my patients with me. I don't think you're the asshole. I'm sorry. I don't think OP is the asshole in this situation. I would think her dad is an asshole in this situation because, let's just say, I'm just saying if I think her dad would be an asshole. Oh my god. I'm sorry guys, I'm yawning bad. The only thing that I would say that her dad's an asshole about is if when they have this family meeting about the business, about what happened in this situation, what T did, he knows the extent of it once they have a sit down meeting and talk about it, and he still agrees that the sister should come back into the job. I think the dad is an asshole, and I think whatever happens to the business, the dad asked for it. That's just my opinion. Because I'm gonna be honest, I think the sister is a liability to this business. I mean, she cost the business $40,000. What was she even using the money for? I mean, I feel like, I don't know. I wish there was an update. I don't think there's another update. But I'm going to keep this story saved. By the way, this post was made 19 hours ago, so both of our stories are fresh. I really want to stay updated with this story because I want to know what happens next. Like, did the dad, is the dad going to take what OP says under consideration and not hire the sister back, but instead hire somebody else? Or is OP going to have to leave and figure out another situation? But she's got kids. She's a single mom, I don't know. But I know one thing. OP is not the asshole. But let's go on and read the comments. Someone says, not the asshole. I will be blunt. She is going to destroy the business. Exactly. She is going to destroy the business. But put this back on your parents. Every dollar she costs will be deducted from the value of the business for what you had to pay for the business. Exactly, including the cost of the inedible complaints, lawsuits from patients who have incurred incorrect expenses because she has failed to invoice them or their insurance accuracy. Exactly. Another comment says, not worth it. She would just get it to zero. OP should just walk out at this point. I wouldn't say OP should just like go ahead and just walk out, because I feel like it would be too early. I feel like the place could still be saved. It's just, I wouldn't hire the sister back. I honestly, God, would not hire the sister back. And if the dad won't let OP have the business, run the business on her own, but the only circumstance is she'll have to hire her sister back, T, that's when I would shake my hands and just going about my life and figure something else out, because it's just gonna give a bad name to the family, a bad name to the business, and you don't want that. But I don't know if Dad can see that. I don't know if he can hear that, but like I said, I hope there's another update eventually. This is crazy. Someone also said, can you start looking for other places to work? They know they can treat you like this because you won't actually do anything about it. Someone responded and said, I know it really sucks when family treats you like this. I'm very sad about it. You know, that's another thing too. Like, I was working at Alliance, and it's a hands-on labor job. It's a meal type of job. I would put my AirPods in, or at least just one in, and I would listen to Reddit stories. And I can't remember what video it was specifically, but there was a story about somebody made on Reddit. It's a Reddit post. There was this, I think it was like a bakery, or like it was something to do with like cooking, like some kind of restaurant, family owned business. Well, there was a girl working there, and she would flirt with the people and date them, and if she didn't like them, she would talk to the boss about getting them fired. And the thing is, her family owned the business, so anytime they would hire new people, she would date that new person, like the new employee, and if she didn't like them, if like they didn't have the same goals and alignments as she did, she would dump them, and she would do everything in her power to get that person fired. And 99.9% of the time, you're gonna get fired, you're gonna lose your job. So like, nobody caught on to it. She never got, repercussions, consequences behind it. She never did. But slowly over time, it did cost the family their business, and it did ruin their reputation and their name and everything. So that's why I'm like, also thinking in my head, I also forgot to mention that sometimes working in your family's business isn't always the best thing to do. I don't think so, because it can get messy. It's family involved. I know you're thinking like, oh, but it's a tight family. Family wouldn't do you like that. Family wouldn't do other people like that. You'd be surprised. That's why I think OP should just start her own business. You ain't got to worry about kinfolk. You ain't got to worry about family, employees. You ain't got to worry about nobody shady, not doing what they're supposed to be doing, and costing the business $40,000, maybe even $100,000. I mean, honestly, I hate that happened to her sister, but honestly, if that had never happened to her sister, they would have never known. Or by the time they do catch on and she finds out, they could have been like $200,000 or $100,000, behind. Or, I'm not dismissing, OP's situation, but I'd rather have my business, cut out of $40,000 than $100,000. I mean, really and truly, you don't want neither. But if I had to pick and choose between $40,000 and $100,000, it'd be $40,000. But yeah, I think OP should just, have the meeting and everything, see how that goes, and if things don't go right, you go left, you go the other way. So that's gonna be all for today's Reddit post. We will stay updated with this one. If you guys like this video, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. My life has been kind of hectic, but I'm trying to keep making videos, trying to squeeze in the time for it and upload them. But yeah, I guess that's gonna be all for today. I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.